Hello guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Old Guy Farmer Single Player Challenge. This is episode 42. We are in the last game day of autumn, game day 6, and we have a boatload of work to do today. So let's go ahead and jump on in. So on the agenda today is mowing and baling field 11, leasing a tractor, and seeding field 20 something. Hello Northeast Rail, because we are going to buy that field that we've just plowed in game day 5, and we're going to put grass in there. So that's going to put a little bit of a damper on our productivity on field 11 because we can only have one hired worker, and our hired worker is going to be busy doing the seeding on that field. I think we've already got to our eggs. Yep, we already got to our eggs. We tended to our sheep at the end of the stream yesterday, but we'll just go ahead and clean this area up real fast. I assume that probably winter we will probably game day winter day 1 we'll probably finally eventually get around to moving our pallets somewhere of wheat. Oh, not wheat, of wool. Our stuff's already over here. Let's slow them down. Let's we need to wheel down our ramp, and we need to move this guy. In fact, we're going to put this guy on a hired worker to go ahead and get our mowing started. Then we're going to unload that trailer. We need to take that trailer all the way back to the main farm. I want to pick up that one last seed pallet that we've got. Hey Jolyn, back for more, are you? This is our single player challenge map from Old Guy Farmer. If you're not familiar with the challenge, we have 3 years of gameplay on this map with seasons, running 6-day seasons. All right, we can speed up our cruise control because we slowed that down when we were working with the baler. Come on, let's back up. So we are in the last day of autumn on game year 2 of the single player challenge. The challenge ultimately is to earn as much money as possible over 3 game years. Using seasons, of course. We can only have one hired helper at any one point in time. So we're going to use our hired helper for now to mow that field while we do some other things, so we have a little bit of productivity. We got one bale up here we'll need to pick up at some point, so I might as well pick that thing up before I go and forget about it. Run it down here and drop it off. More details about the challenge can be found in the link in the description. Alright, so let's switch this over to pallets. Yeah, it might just be easier to... Oh, look, we got like a low dense fog. That's pretty cool on the ground. Might be just as quick to run over here and get our pallet forks. So one of the stipulations of the challenge is that everything must be streamed. We can use tractors no greater than 250 horsepower. Oh, I don't want to run into our trailer. There we go. So we run into our truck instead. If you're not familiar with seasons, the reason we're in a bit of a rush is that in winter, which is tomorrow, game day tomorrow, come winter we cannot plant grass anymore. Also, we won't be able to mow or bale any more grass. Once midnight hits, all the grass on the map will completely die. It'll go to a harvest state. Any grass left on the field, not baled, will immediately disappear, as if it was never there to begin with. So this is kind of the final hour to get anything planted that we want to plant. It's the final hour to get anything baled that we want to bale until sometime next game year in spring. So now's literally the last. Now's the time to make hay before winter comes. I think the first game day of winter we will have rain. Alright. So we went to X, Y, right. Okay. So let's get the setup that we used last time to seed. Which was this. We need to front loader attacher. We don't need a front loader. We want the 100 horsepower engine. We want to lease that. We want to sewing machines. We need this. And we need this. Hey Carolina boy, how are you doing? Not the greatest lights on this thing. There we go. So I don't know how much seed was left in that thing, but we do know from course play that we need 800 and some liters of seed to seed that field. Oh, and we are short by just a little bit. I did not want to have to buy seed. Oh well. All right. There we go. So since the truck's already up here, we might as well just hitch a ride. I see our mower is done now, so we don't have to worry about our one helper limit when we get this tractor over to the field. I know I left the tractor up there running, but it'll be fine. I'm glad you're liking the challenge. Are you following anybody else? All right. Bye. All right. Now, we're going to do this. We're going to do this. It's field 22. Let's just check. I think this only has a 4-meter working width. Yep, 4 meters. We'll do a 4.9. Looks like we have to have a headland when we do auto course. So let's just do southwest to north. Let's take a look. That looks fine to me. Hoping that those trees won't be a problem. We're on grass, so we won't have that mess up that I did on the other field. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to run over here. Here comes the train. Get across. Oh, I forgot to lift up the gate. There. All right. So we're going to drop you. We're going to turn your lights off, fold you up, and while this guy is seating, let's just jump in here and see how long this thing is going to take. 47 minutes. We're going to run a mission. What do you want? 20 minutes. That's not long enough. What do you want? 26 minutes. That's a little better. What do you want? 16 minutes. How about you up here? 12. Are you all, that's all you're going to give me is fertilize options? It's like everybody just wants to fertilize. Nobody wants to do anything else. Alright, we're going to fertilize this field. We're going to do it. So Grizzly Bear is streaming right now. He's in autumn. I forget what day in autumn. Oh, what in the world is going on? Sorry guys, my throughput just went completely kaput. I don't know what happened. So the reason we are running this mission is to give my my guy seeding as much daylight as possible, and basically to allow us to have as much daylight as possible to do our baling. So since we could increase our working width, that's not right. There we go. Let's go ahead and scoot that over. So we are required to play at 15 times speed, and there's an interesting little tidbit of information related to that, and that is when you run a mission, the game speed drops to 1x. So we're going to use that to our advantage. So while we are here fertilizing this field, our hired helper is able to plant grass on field 22 at 1x time, so real time basically, as opposed to the super accelerated 15 times speed. We're still dropping frames. Throughput's at 3800, 3900, so hopefully you all are just seeing kind of a resolution degraded version of the stream. Hey Rubber Burner, how are you doing? So I was just telling GrizzlyBearSims that you finally got to see the forecast for the first day of winter, and you seemed awful excited to have one day of rain. I'll remind you that there's 5 other days of winter you haven't seen yet. So I'll show you my forecast. Well, I can't, darn it. I'm in a mission again. Seems like you always show up when I'm in a mission. Basically for our winter we have 2 days of rain, 2 days of sunshine, and 2 days of snow. So we're going to have a little more snow than we had last year, but we're not going to have near as much snow as GrizzlyBearSims had. He is a little concerned because his autumn forecast is very similar to his autumn forecast of last year from his recollection. So he's hoping that he doesn't have a nasty winter again. But only time will tell as he gets more days and shows more forecast information. But I'd warn you that 1 day of rain does not necessarily imply that you're going to have an easy winter. It may be quite the opposite, that 1 day of rain shows that you might have a wet winter, and you just haven't gotten cold enough temperatures yet. So hopefully by the time we get done this particular mission, our hired helper that's running the seeder over on field 22 will be about 2/3 of the way done, I'm hoping. I am a little disappointed and upset that I had to buy a bag of seed, that we couldn't have used only the seed that came with the map. because I have zero intentions of really planting any more grass at this point. So I guess we'll just work this way. It's hard to believe we've already done a quarter of the field based on the pie graph up there. We're not going to roll the spreader. That might be a little hard to do given this tractor and the sheer mass of the spreader there. In fact, I'm surprised that they gave us this. Is this a Voltra S again? It doesn't really tell us if it's an S series, does it? They gave us a Voltra S to do a plowing mission, and we had that big old red plow. Thankfully, the field was fairly flat, or we would not have been able to plow that thing. I'm missing your On the Hills gameplay. Or not On the Hills, the oh, what is that map? Yeah, but the logging trailer is pretty top heavy when you get those logs up there. This thing's not so top heavy because there's, I mean, the weight isn't that much higher than the wheels. Higher hills. That's it. So while you're in here, I'll ask you a little bit about your project and your announcement. So I'm guessing the part that is the never been done part is the production on multiple channels, the same Let's Play series from two different perspectives. Because I've seen Let's Play series that have been multiplayer from the standpoint of, you know, bringing other people in, but they've only been published, as best I know, on a single channel. And I'm assuming that other than like big things like field prep and harvest, that this would allow both of you to kind of maybe be on the map at the same time, but really be working in two different sections of the map. Maybe one person's caring for the pigs and one person's caring for the cows, but still you're telling a common story. That's kind of how I thought it would work based on your announcement. Now, what I was wondering was, you know, obviously when you're working on a single field, you could have, you know, through through TeamSpeak or oh, what is this? The Discord. You could chat with each other through either of those. And basically, you know, say you're using two-way radios to communicate between the tractors. But if you're working on opposite ends of the map, would you necessarily be in the same voice chat, or would you basically be independent, telling your own narration for those type of episodes? Because I think if you know, if you're working on one side of the map and he's working on another side of the map, and you're just chatting it back and forth, then that might kill the roleplay aspect, because you'd be like, how in the heck are you chatting with this guy that's on the other end of town? So that's just something I was thinking about, is, you know, if you would kind of be doing your own narration, your own storytelling, kind of independent of each other, but at the same time, the common theme, the common story. And then in your reveal, you kind of indicated that there was maybe some changes to the map. Dobo and you really didn't like the silos. They seem to have a lot of rust from your perspective, but they look pretty clean to me. So I'm guessing part of your this is taking forever to prepare was the tweaking of the map. And for those in chat there that might be watching later that aren't familiar, I'd encourage you to go check out Rubber Burner's video on his channel about his about the announcement, the collaboration between him and Doughboy. There should be a link to his channel in the description. Yeah, I looked at quite a while back. I looked at that map to do a video on, but I never did a video on it because I just felt that it seemed like it had some issues to it. I think the icons weren't quite right. They weren't in the right places, or some that may even been missing. It just didn't feel like a done map. And looking in the forum threads about that map, I think there's just some general issues with the map that that's one reason why I didn't do a video on it. But you've probably recognized those and made those corrections. I was kind of hoping that the map author would come out with an update, because I really do like the map. It's very indicative of a you know, a Midwest type town. So we didn't fill that seed hopper on our seeder. We based our estimate on the course play. Basically, we went here and chalked up field 22, hit our little calculator, and went to grass and said we needed 872. So I think I put 900 in a little bit in there. And when we did that other big field, that calculator on courseplay was near spot on. But I was a little upset again that we only had we were about 200 liters short of grass seed. Well, I'm going to be excited to see your first true episode on it with the changes. Obviously, when you did your announcement, you used the raw map. Well, what we know that he's completely swapped out all of the silos. It doesn't sound like they like the blue silos at all. They don't like the big old corrugated steel silos. Obviously, the seed and fertilizer fill points are gone because all that seed was, quote, expired and was, quote, rotten. So they'll probably have seed and fill points outside the building, or maybe none at all. I think some of the storage buildings are probably going to be gone. I suspect there may be some addition to some feed mixers, some seed not seed, but some feed mixing stations in there. Now, what as far as seasons go, because of course you're going to play seasons on the map, are you going to play what season length are you going to do? And I assume you're probably going to play 1x speed, maybe 5x. So he's not quite halfway done that field. Alright, so there's our forecast for winter. We have 2 days of rain, 2 days of snow, and 2 days of sun. And hopefully we'll have enough warmth on day 1 of spring to melt any remaining snow and unfreeze the ground. Alright, so he's doing a pretty good job pulling through. The seeder here takes a minimum of 100 horsepower, and that's what this tractor has, 100 horsepower, so looks like he has just enough to do it. So let's get back over here. Of course, with the fields, as you said, they're larger than you're used to. Well, you've already recorded some episodes, I think, haven't you? Maybe you haven't yet. But one thought maybe 9 days at 5x to give you a few extra days to do field prep and harvest and whatnot. The extra days would definitely lower the amount of food that you need to feed every 3 days to the animals. I just did a stream over on Mountain Valley, and in that stream I was explaining that on that series we're doing 12 days, or on that map I'm playing 12 days, and I've only got 20 cows, but I was really surprised at how little feed I had to give the 20 cows over 3 days to keep them full. You know, I only had to give them basically a bale of hay and a bale of straw every 3 days, and they only needed like 3,000 liters of TMR over 3 days. And that, the way I understand it, and I explained this to you one time when you were doing higher hills is that in the animal XML seasons, it basically has, let's say for cows, the cows use X amount of grass over summer, over the entire summer season. And if you play 3-day seasons, and since the trough is full for just 3 days worth of food, you have to feed all summer's worth of food over 3 days. Whereas if you play 6-day seasons, you only have to feed half of the amount of food that they're going to eat for the entire season over 3 days. 9 days, obviously you're only going to feed them a third of what they're going to feed the entire season over 3 days, and so forth. So, you know, Jerry, Old Guy Farmer, he's in the most recent stream, he told me he sold 100 of his cows back because he just couldn't keep up with the feeding demand of 200 head of cattle at 15 times speed with 6 days. But if he was running, let's say 12 days and had 200 head of cattle, he'd have to feed them half as much over the same 3-day period. And I think he would have a much easier time feeding 200 head with the exact same equipment at 15 times speed, simply because he doesn't need to feed them that often. They're still eating the exact same amount over those over that season. It's just the season's longer, so it'd be easier to manage. So one thing to think about would be, you know, if on your series you're thinking about having a lot of a large herd of any one particular animal or multiple animals, that a longer season may make it a lot easier to feed them. Oh, he's slipping. He's down here on a tree, isn't he? All right. So F1's acting up again. So we're not going to get near as many bales off of this field as we did the first time we cut it. But this is our last day to be mowing. You come back for tomorrow's stream, we will be once again cutting down trees. I know that bale's going to roll down the hill, but I didn't want to unload it up here and have it maybe roll into the water. Oh, I'm trying to figure out where to drop this thing. This should be good. Oh, it's midday, 1 o'clock. It's finally clearing off. There you go. We don't need to lose you into the water. So I don't know if Rubber Burner is still watching, but if you watch my stream from this afternoon, you'll get to see my round bale stash up by the barn sell point. It's not as orderly as I'd like it to be, but most of the bales are up there. Our seeder is still running. A little over halfway now. Alright. So you see the leaves have really changed. Everything's browned up, and tomorrow all the leaves will be gone. Oh, there's a nice red bush. Back up, back up. Oops, wrong button. This is what I wanted to do. So here are the mirrors set up so we can see what's going on. Not really. I guess the one that's right up here, kind of in our peripheral vision on the front, is maybe the best to help us see what's going on. And what's really nice about this is that I just noticed this tractor has 57 liters of fuel left in it. We're going to sell this tractor tomorrow. We won't need to refill this tractor with fuel. That's money saved. Because the only reason we bought this tractor was to run the baler. And tomorrow we are going to sell the Big M. We're going to sell this tractor. We're going to sell the baler. And we're going to buy the Ponzi Ergo. I think that's the Scorpion's altered in Ego. And we're going to buy a log trailer. I guess we're going to lease a stump grinder. We only need to grind down a few stumps. Down there by field 22. The rest of the stumps can just remain. And we're going to clear the trees off around field 22, and then we're going to take to the hills until it snows. And once it snows, we'll probably drop down here to the lowlands, if you will, down here and along over there, along the road. See, we're getting a lot fewer bales off of this than we did the first time around. Well, Sean, I think there's two reasons for the lower output. One is we never got an opportunity to put all 3 layers of fertilizer on this field after we mowed it the first time. So you'll see here if we look. So we gotta pick grass, don't we? We're down to fertilize 1. So we only ever had a chance to put one application of fertilizer on this field. So we were down from having 3 to 2. Plus this field was not at full growth. It was only showing the color for the first ready to harvest growth. And basically we just ran out of time. There was no more waiting for this field to grow any further because tomorrow this field will be harvested. Even if we didn't harvest it, it would be knocked down. Welcome back, Jolyn. Check where our helper is. So it looks like our helper is about ready to start the shorter section of that field. I don't think it does with respect to grass fields. Giants put something in to where you don't have to plow grass fields. I've seen it like on I've seen it like on a map that has grass fields from the start. That when you start the map, it says that grass field needs plowed. But if you mow that field, the needs plowing will disappear. Now we did plow all of these fields in year one. But I don't know if the yield necessarily drops every harvest until you actually plow again. I think plowing just gives you a 10% bonus. And you need to plow every 3 harvests to maintain that 10%. And with seasons, that ultimately means you have to plow every 3 years. And since we're only playing 3 years, then there really isn't a need to plow again. That might have been interesting to have the challenge of 4 years instead of 3, because then, in theory, you would need to plow after your 3rd year harvest to maintain your productivity. It's late autumn, it's almost 5 o'clock, and we already have the sun setting. Once again, we're going to be getting back into winter, where the sun goes down very, very early. We're going to be friends with the night, with all of the night work, all the night that we're going to have. And last year, we couldn't fertilize a lot of our fields because, one, because the ground went frozen on us, and 2, the act of going into a harvested state didn't seem to let us put another layer of fertilizer down. So that's one of the goals with this winter until ground is frozen, and spring, once the ground thaws, is to try to get all of our fields back up to 3 fertilizer levels before the first cut. Alright, this may be the bale that's in the chamber right now. Is the last bale that we are going to make for the season. So that is the last bale, guys. No reason to pick that grass up and leave it in the baler. you here. Let's go over here and check on our seeder. Alright. Let's see. Let's hope that he has enough. Alright. Let's go. I think the train just went by. So let's shoot for the moon. Hope we can get past. We're going to take this equipment up to the sell point and sell it. We have no more use for this equipment this year. I can see the big M in the background. That's good. I really wish more. I really wish you could adjust the mirrors. You know, GTX Mods has some really awesome trucks that let you adjust the mirrors, and kind of wish more implements. Kind of wish the default Giant stuff would let you move the mirrors around, because this mirror on the left is completely useless. Unless you want to see the sidewalk way over there. The mirror here in the middle, it's kind of useful. Now, last year we discovered a rather interesting bit of information about this tractor. Let's see if it holds this year also. Alright, so let's see, what do we want to... Alright, $27,000 to sell this tractor. We have 5.7 hours on this tractor. It is dirty. It is almost out of fuel. If we wanted to buy this tractor, which is the TW25, we did not change a darn thing. It's $27,000. The Fords do not depreciate. We used that darn thing all autumn. $97,000. Now this one does depreciate. Yeah, we paid $135 for it when we bought it. It says 2.4 hours on it. 132,000. We paid a lot for this thing. 180,000. And sell it. All right, tomorrow we are going to buy this thing, $250,000. And we're going to buy, I guess, this trailer. Alright, let's fix this guy. I do not know the... Let's see here. Jolin's asking if I know the game Cops and Robbers, and I do not. Something about Cops and Robbers on this Is it something you do on Farm Sim? So we're going to just manually finish the seeding on this field. I'm going to turn it off. If anybody's looking for a really great small tractor, fairly cheap, this one's only $38,000. It's only 100 horsepower, but it does have a front 3-point connection. You know, if the Fords had a front 3-point connection and they were just a little bit faster, they would be outstanding little tractors for their price. I mean, they already are really good tractors for the price, but the fact that you can't get a front 3-point connection on them really does limit their usability. You know, you can't put more front weight on them than they have already. I can't use it to seed with this particular combination because I need the front seed hopper. All the other seeders that are bigger than 3 meters take way more horsepower than I have. You know, like when we were shooting wood chips into the tipper, I had to hook it up to the back of the Massey Ferguson tractor, the auto loader, because it didn't have a front connection, and that, you know, you got to back in, you got to kind of reverse your controls and everything. Looks like we're right on the money spot with as far as our seed goes. Like I said, we put a little extra seed in the hopper. Now it looks like we're going to have about 50 liters of seed by the time we're done here. Alright. We're going to hit this end. So I think there may have been 2 little sections that this wasn't able to get. We're going to basically run around the field and just make sure everything is seated on here. That's where we missed a little bit. We've already hit our 1 hour mark as far as operating time, so there's no reason to quit real quick now. We've already paid for that extra hour. So that looks like that's all seated. So that's all seated. And that looks like that's all seated. Okay. Return. Return. And return. All right. All right, let's pick up our bales. And we have officially put an end to our baling in year 2. We are not going to get stuck on the tracks when that train comes. That is for sure. Got that bale. We are 1 bale shy of 42 bales. We're going to go over here and pick that 1 bale up from our stash at the farm. Then we'll run these up to our bale storage point. If Rubber Burner's still hanging around, he can see our mound of bales. There we go. They kind of explode when we unload them. And if he's lucky, we'll roll this stupid trailer here. When this thing is unloaded like this, with these bales so high, it is very top heavy. No luck so far. Oh, I guess you're not going to get to see me roll it tonight. So, there is our awful, awful mess of silage bales. That's the only downside of this trailer. It kind of makes a mess when you unload them. But that is definitely more bales than we had last year. And speaking of bales, I might as well bring up the fact that one of the reasons we are doing this contest is to see who will make the most money. Whoever makes the most money after 3 years will win the Platinum DLC that's coming out in November. And should we win, or should I win the Platinum DLC from the contest by being the one that earns the most money, I will be giving that DLC away to one lucky viewer. How do you enter, you may ask? Well, entering is pretty simple. All you need to do is on day 72, which will be the last game day of the contest, is to basically put in the comments how many bales we sold during all 3 years of the contest. Now know that we have made bales that we are not going to sell. For example, we have made hay bales here. We've got a little bit of time here. Let's we need to refuel our truck, and that means we need to play with our really cool fuel trailer. Should also refuel the Massey while we're at it. Does the Massey need maintenance? Nope, not yet. We need to see if the truck needs maintenance. Let's get out. Let's start the fuel pump. Right. Fuel pump's running. Let's get in our truck and let's refuel him. And while we're refueling, let's check out our indicator here. Yep, we are definitely putting fuel in the truck. Sweet. Let's check. Do we need maintenance? Don't quite need maintenance, so we won't worry about that. Oh, I just checked. I did not realize that this the motor is spinning in there. That's sweet. Alright, let's pull this guy forward a wee little bit so we can unhook, bring him around, fuel him up. We've already bought fuel and put in the trailer, so Might as well use it, right? Alright, let's stop the fuel pump. And we'll put him back. Oops. Drop our forks. We're going to run up here, pick our bucket up, tend to our sheeps. We do need to check on our sheep price. I failed to do that yesterday. And while we don't plan on buying any more sheep, we're checking on our sheep price to basically know when to sell our sheep next year. We obviously want to get the most for them. Alright, let's put him here. And let's check our sheep price. $37.99. Let's go ahead and put that down. $37.99 is autumn day 6. Okay, now we're going to skip the night. It is now winter. So let us check the sheep price, $37.99 again. Actually, we should probably wait a few minutes to let things update. Let's check our finances here. $84,000 we made yesterday, and that was mostly basically selling our equipment. We bought a field. There was our leasing costs where we leased that tractor. $27,000 for our greenhouses. Alright, let's go up here. 6 o'clock and it is still dark as night. Pick up our eggs. Enough time should have passed to update any scripts. $37.99 for the first day of winter. It is useful to do that. See, if we sell our sheep, we're only getting $15.19. Alright, so with that, guys, we are going to call it a stream. We will be back maybe tomorrow, maybe not until Tuesday. I'm not really sure at this point. But we are in autumn now. We will be officially logging from this point forward. In fact, we might as well just go ahead and buy our stuff up. We're going to get the Ergo, the Super Ergo. Sure, we'll get the Super Ergo. And our log trailer. We'll go with wide tires. Is that the only? Yep, that's the only. Of course, we could go with this log trailer. Might as well go with this one because this one supports up to 12 meters. I don't know what the where is it? This one doesn't say what the log trailer works with, but I know the Ergo does 10-meter logs. So we're going to go with that trailer. Do we want to... Might as well get a back attacher. Let's get wide tires. We want to add a rear stopper, and we want UAL. Alright. So we have bought our stuff, and we're going to save and quit out. Thank you guys for watching so much. Like I said, we may be back tomorrow, or it may be Tuesday before we're back and doing a Old Guy Farmer single player challenge stream. Until next time, happy farming.